I'm now talking with Dennis Fox. He's the Recruitment and Retention Manager for the DNR. Dennis, welcome to the Q1 Buckpool.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, well, today we're going to talk about bows, compound and crossbows, some of the differences and some of the things that you should look at when you're getting ready to buy. And Dennis, we're going to start with compound bows here today.
Okay. The first thing that you want to look at with the compound bow, if you're just getting into it, is the draw length, because that's the most important thing. And when we talk about draw length, it's the length of when you pull it back to when it ends. And so you're going to try to anchor it in your corner of your mouth, or if you've got a release, you're going to have a consistent anchor point. And so having that proper draw length is the most important thing. And then when you're looking at you know, the other important aspects is the weight, you know, the actual physical weight of the equipment, so you make sure that you're comfortable carrying it. The poundage, and so let's say it's a 65-pound bow, there's going to be a let off with the cables and the cams, and that'll let off to a certain amount. When you get to a certain point, it'll just break and it'll make it easy. But you want to make sure that you can pull it back and you're comfortable and you're not shaking like crazy because the draw is too heavy, and so that you can get a good shot on that animal that you're shooting.
Well, and not always is, you know, the higher the poundage, better for the person. Exactly. Everybody's unique. You know, I shoot a little bit lower poundage just because, you know, I like it easy to come back, and I know that I can put that right on target and I'm good to go. Exactly.
That's a great point. Now, if you're working with youth, you know, they have the manufacturers have a lot of great equipment out there that can be fit to the youth. It's important to make sure that you don't get too large of equipment and too heavy of equipment, because they just won't be able to handle it as good. Particularly with the crossbow, I mean the compound bows, you really can't hold it for them, and you can't put it on a rest like a gun or a crossbow, and so they have to handle it themselves by and large. Probably the best tip though is to go to a archery shop and work with the professionals and the staff that they have. They'll be able to help you get fitted properly. They'll probably even let you shoot some of the different types of brands and models, and so that you can get a really good feel for, you know, what you like, what feels good. You know, the draw length, they'll help you with the draw length. They'll help you with, you know, selecting the arrows and the right size arrows, and they're a great resource in Michigan. Because
you get all types of, you know, grain weights when it comes to arrows too, and then you got your broadhead, and there's a lot of different factors that go along with making that proper shot and not injuring an animal, but taking that animal.
Yes. Typically with your compound bows, you're going to have the two types. You're going to have the carbon arrow type, and then you're going to have the aluminum. And so making a decision on what type of arrow you want to use, you know, is an important aspect of it. And
which one do you like? You like carbon or aluminum?
I like carbon.
Yeah, I do too. They last longer for me.
Now, if you're shooting a recurve or a longbow or something like that, a lot of those shooters use the cedar shafts. Right. So that's another option too. I mean, if you want to go that route.
Step back in time.
Exactly.
How's that?
Another thing to consider is your feathers or your vanes. The vanes are the plastic guidance system for the arrow. You really have the choice of whether or not you want the feather types or if you want the solid plastic.
All right, now we're going to step forward in time, and crossbows is what we're going to talk about right now. This is something that you have changed over from compound to crossbow. Why?
I shot the compound for probably 20 years, and I switched over to the crossbow because my youngest son, got old enough where he could start archery hunting. And I knew he was going to grow a lot, and so for me it was a financial decision where I decided to go with a crossbow, because I figured he was going to outgrow 2 or 3 of the compounds just for the draw length and the weight. And so I thought just purely for a financial aspect of it, I would start him with a crossbow, yet, you know, keep him familiarized with the compound, so when he, you know, finished growing, he could make his own decision.
What are some of the things I should consider when buying a crossbow?
Your basic design of the crossbow is pretty standard with, you know, the limbs and the cables and the strings. Some of the things that you're going to want to consider are the grips. And the length of the stock to make sure it fits. What's really nice is the manufacturers are producing or making stocks that, you know, can collapse and expand. So that issue's not so much. If you want a scope, you know, what type of scope do you want? Do you want a red dot? Do you want one with the lines and the sights? And then also you have the option of whether or not you want to use the pull cables, you know, to cock the crossbow. or some of the other models have the crank where it'll pull the string back and lock it in place. And even more recently, they've come up with the push buttons where you just push a button and it'll pull it back for you.
Kind of making it easy for you to get out in the woods.
And again, you know, with the crossbows, you really want to go to your archery shop and try out a couple different models, you know, and see what, you know, fits good for you, you know, what the weight is and whether or not you can handle it, and just try some out.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a pair of shoes.
Well, again, because every model is a little different. Every model has a little different feel, and you know, when you go to the archery shops to try them out, that's going to give you the best, you know, really the best insight of what you're buying and is it going to fit you? Because again, a lot of people are going to crossbows now. Restrictions for shooting crossbows. December is out, right?
In the Upper Peninsula, in the Lower Peninsula, they can use it in the late antlerless seasons, and during the muzzle loading seasons if they want to also.
All right, so get out in the woods. That's our main thing to talk about today. Get out in the woods, have some fun, do some great deer hunting. Be safe when you're out there, whether you choose a compound or a crossbow. You know, do it right.
Great.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right,
Thank
Dennis,
you.
thanks for being with us. Dennis Fox here with the DNR. I'm Tim Hart, and you're watching the Q1 Buck Poll.